Hey everyone, good morning. I'm here outside Foto Care. Foto Care is a store in New York City that I've been coming to for decades, and today we're going to try something which I'm super excited about. I've always had a problem trying to get really good scans of my old negatives, and today I have with me a shoot I did of Leonard Nimoy. I'm not sure of the date, but it's 172. That means it's the 172nd shoot I ever did since I moved to New York. And it's all negatives, and there's definitely some pictures in here I really want to see. I don't have any contact sheets, and this new system that Foto Care have developed are going to let me see contact sheets and scan me one of my negs. I'm super excited. Let's see what they got. Foto Care here in Jon Slesinger has set up a system that apparently is going to make me super happy to get some scans done.
Well, we're going to try.
What's it all about, John?
Okay. So we tried a bunch of different systems, and we decided that the old equipment from an enlarger works best. We decided not to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
So we built these systems, either an 8x10 frame for contact sheets, or a frame with a sliding system that takes Bessler or Omega holders, or we also have for strips and for slides. And so we put this thing together because everything's metal, everything is flat.
So what you're saying is if you have an old enlarger, you're pretty likely to have
You would already have some of the parts that you would need.
Smart, right.
Okay? And then we went out and we decided that the Kaiser copy stands were nice and solid. And so we have two here, one with the flatbed with a light box underneath it, and one with the light panel built in. We're using a Fuji GFX 100S. 100 megapixels seems to be a really nice sweet spot. You'll get really big files out of it. You'll get a 40-inch image. And we have a Novoflex Bellows system and a Schneider 90 Macro.
Okay, so you're actually using an enlarger lens.
We're using an enlarger lens.
So that means, I presume, tell me if I'm right, that there's no curvature.
There's no curvature.
So you're going to get a flatter image.
Yes, and it's apochromatic, so everything is flat and even.
Smart. Really, really smart. Beautiful. And I see you've got two copy stands set up. Most people would only have one?
Most people would have one. We have two just to make our lives easier today.
And this guy's for contact sheets?
This guy's for contact sheets up to 8x10 film. So
Wow.
anything that won't fit into a holder from a 4x5 enlarger, we can do over here and then the table has a built-in light box.
And you literally just swap the camera from one to the other?
We're just going to move the camera over from one to the other.
So I'm actually going to see a contact sheet of these guys for the first time in 21 years.
So let's do a contact sheet first.
Okay.
If you want to grab some gloves, and you can load it up.
Yep.
And then we will start to do the process.
Is there a particular way you would like these laid out?
I'd like them out
face up, face down?
Up, right reading, actually.
Right
so
reading.
that you can actually read the numbers on the film.
All right, so there's one.
And close
And
the
just
top.
close the top.
And just close the top. Oops.
Oops, it slipped.
That's okay. We are going to reframe it real quickly. I'm going to come just up here because now since Mark's moved it, we're going to pull this back into the frame on the camera. We're just going to flip up the screen so you can see it. Sorry to my back to you. And that gets us in place. And we're going to hit the lights and we're going to do this.
So we're all set up here. Negatives are laid out, and I know John has done a little pre-jiggery pokery to make this come up nicely, but there is some work to get a contact sheet, right, John?
Right, and though we said it, when we go to do the single frame, we will go through the entire process, so you'll get to see exactly what we've done.
Can I see? Can I see?
Can you see? Can you see? Yes, you can right now. So you've taken the picture, and
That's amazing. That's really amazing.
And we can just zoom right in on one of these and you can see.
So let me ask you, if this is a 100 megapixel camera, I could make what size contact sheet?
So the file itself out of the camera is about 40 inches. So you can do a 17 by 22 super proof, and each frame is about 8 by 10.
Wow.
So you can actually print work prints at 8x10 right off your contact sheet.
All right, cool. Let me make a couple of decisions then. Let's do these two with the hand up. That's the most iconic Leonard.
So this one?
Yeah.
And this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
See a little bit, do you think that's film flare or bad processing?
I think that's probably on the film.
Wow.
And it's from the beginning of the roll. So we'll find out in a second.
I remember back in the day, I used to take these rolls and put them on airplanes, and they used to go through all kind of like stuff, and sometimes the beginning and the end.
Through the X-rays, absolutely.
Yeah. But once again, fix it in Photoshop. I mean, have all the information and fix it.
Right. So the goal for all this is to get all the information that's on your negative.
Right.
We want to have the full breadth of your film. And then once we do that, we can take it into Photoshop and make all our final adjustments, do our printing basically. So Mark's picked a negative, and what we're going to do is for 2 1/4 right now, I have a 617 Omega carrier. So I'm going to put in our Omega tray into the holder, and then I'm going to drop in the carrier, and Mark's going to load up the film just the way he was used to doing it in a darkroom.
Wow. This really feels like the darkroom.
It's very similar.
I remember these.
That's good.
All right, so would you want it in the middle of the carrier, John?
Yeah, put it wherever you need to. Make sure both ends are covered. So these being aluminum, we'll hold it flat.
Wow. So I presume you guys will develop like a glass carrier and all sorts in the future.
Yeah, or you can use the 8x10.
Ah, of course.
And there are, Omega and Bestler each had glass carriers for 4x5 and for 2 1/4. So they actually already exist out there, and you can still get them.
This looks pretty flat to me.
It should be.
Because this film is so horribly exposed, I can't actually see the bottom of the frame.
Well, that's okay. I think we're good. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure our lens is all the way open, because we always want to focus wide open. And I'm going to come on in. You'll see I have to look over my glasses because I'm getting old. And then I'm going to take the camera and I'm going to actually zoom in. And you can see that when we focus, you'll see when the focus, in this case is skin, comes right into focus. We'll go right back out.
You can actually see grain.
You can actually see grain.
Wow.
And then we're going to come back down here, and I'm going to go back to F11 because I want to shoot in the middle of my lens. And now I'm ready to shoot.
Wow, it's so funny. These movements are like they're wide open to focus, and then you forget to close down and you expose a piece of paper and it's way too bright. And you're like, what did I do wrong? And it's because you didn't close back down.
It's the exact same process.
Wow.
So we hope that it's familiar to everybody.
All right, we got the neg in the carrier, and John, you're going to make a photo and it's going to be negative, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to take our picture.
Let's see how that works.
So the first thing we did is we want to make sure that the histogram on your camera reads 0.
Whoa.
I have a tendency to like to put it up to about another third of a stop, so it should be plus a third on there. And our goal is, if you look at the histogram, to get most of our data all within, as close to centered as we can. So I'm going to actually...
I've heard that before about exposure.
Yeah, we want to get it in the middle.
It's a rule of thumb.
So you can see here that I'm probably a little bit too much to the right. Okay, so I'm actually going to change...
I've heard that about you.
I'm going to change my exposure. I'm actually going to come over to my camera and I'm going to change my exposure, and I'm going to turn it down to 0 on my histogram, and I'm going to take another shot. And we're going to see which way the histogram goes. And you can see
histogram has gone left.
It's gone left.
It's a right direction.
And you can see it's now pretty much right in the middle of the frame. And you can see that all the data is in here. This way we have no clipping on either end. Now that I've got this, I'm now going to begin the process. So the first thing we're going to do is neutralize. If I don't have enough base area outside of my frame, which I probably don't, I'm going to pick from the bottom here where it looks like there's no information.
Right.
And you can see that it's slightly changed color.
Interesting.
Okay.
Oh, you still even have color on. You haven't even desaturated
That's
yet.
right. I still have all 3 channels, so I have full information of my negative.
Cool.
Okay.
And is it worth desaturating here or keep it RGB?
It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I like to keep it as RGB and then do my saturation at the end.
Makes sense.
And you can see that if you look at our histogram right now, you'll see that there's no color variances on either end.
Right.
So we now know that our endpoints are actually correct.
Right.
What's nice with black and white with this is it actually speeds us up. Instead of having to do each channel, I can actually do the whole file at once. I am going to do each channel for right now to be sure.
Gotcha.
Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is select our Luma, and we're going to invert our file. And that's
now, for anybody that doesn't know, if you go into tone curve here, the first one is curve, and the second one is Luma, the little white dot there.
And so we're going to take our endpoints, and we're just going to drag our highlight down and our shadow up. Wow. And you can see that I now have a positive.
Wow.
Just from changing it.
I feel positive about that.
That's a good thing.
I'm making all these jokes because I am very excited.
You are, and you're very punny.
Punny?
You're very punny.
All right. Endpoints.
Now we're going to do our endpoints. And so the goal for our endpoint is to have our blacks be equal values of RGB and our whites be equal values of RGB. So we're going to turn on our over and under exposure warnings.
That's these
little guys up here.
Right.
And what that's going to do for us is we're going to actually see them highlight when we get to the end of the histogram. So I'm going to start with my red highlight, make sure it stays at 255, and I'm going to slide it on over.
Ah, you're in.
And I'm in, and you can see that little red triangle is lit up, and you can see it on his head.
Yeah.
And I'm going to come back to that little red triangle goes away, just till it goes away.
Not away yet.
Yep, it's away. And then I'm going to do the same thing with my shadow, and I'm going to bring it in. And you can see the red's going all the way over, and there it highlights, and I'm going to bring it just back.
Cool.
And I'm going to do that with each channel. I'm going to do the green now, and you'll see it come all the way over, and I'm just going to come back. And I'm going to do my highlight, and I'm going to come over, and I'm going to come back till it just goes away. And I'm now going to do my blue, and I'm going to bring it, whoops, I got a curve there, I'm just going to delete that point.
At this point, it should start getting neutral.
And we should start getting neutral. And I'm going to bring it just back. And I'm going to bring my highlights in and bring it just back till it goes away.
Wow.
I have a little bit of red still there, so I'm just going to make one more quick adjustment over here.
And this is exactly what you would do on a color negative to just...
This is exactly the same thing we would do. Now that I have all that information,
yep.
If I need to, I can come on in and give myself a little contrast curve if I want here, or I can leave it just as it is. And since it's black and white, I can take my saturation and remove it.
Wow.
I am now absolutely neutral.
Cool. So that is the maximum information that exists on this negative.
That's right.
Wow.
And I'll give you a quick little...
Actually looks not bad as is.
That's true. It looks pretty good. And then we can zoom in and you can see all the information in that file.
Wow. Film was pretty good, right?
Film was pretty good. It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
And you'll notice that it feels like film. You can see the grain structure.
Yeah.
You can see all those things in there. And what's nice about this is now the next frame we shoot, because I'm going to go to my develop settings and say same as previous. Mm-hmm. The next one we shoot is going to be exactly the same.
So you don't actually need to shoot another one. You're just going to do it to show us what it looks like.
We're going to shoot the other frame you want from later on in the roll.
Gotcha.
You want to switch out the film?
No, I want you to take a picture.
You want me to take another picture?
Oh, yeah.
Take him back around.
So when people talk about HSL or doing multiple exposures, there's absolutely no need to do that because there's no more information to be had.
That's correct.
Wow.
So one of the nice things we have here on our device is that this tray actually slides. I'm actually going to slide my picture back into the frame. And there we go. I'm now back in the frame. I just slid it over because everything's flat. I'm good. And I'm actually going to come on over here and I'll zoom out and I'm going to take one more shot. And it'll be straight up. And you can see that I've got a little clipping on the top.
Yeah, but that's
the
just
red,
film,
and that's
right?
okay. That's actually outside of the frame.
Yeah.
And I can turn those off. And you can see now that if I need to make an adjustment, I can. Because Lightroom's non-destructive, I can go back to these files and do anything I want. So when I'm shooting, I can shoot quickly, and then I can go back in and make my slight adjustments that I might need to make later on.
And you could also just bring a zero up in Photoshop, right?
You can do those things too.
Okay, very cool. Wicked. Can I have the shots and I'm going to go make some prints?
Okay, have
Excellent.
a good time.
You're custom making these for whatever people need.
Yeah, we've designed them and we have them being made. We're going to have, I think, 5 units in the next 2 weeks.
Excellent. This is really exciting.
I'm glad you like it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm very, very impressed.
I can't wait to see the print.
So if anyone's interested, in the description below, it's going to give you Foto Care's details, Jon's details. Genuinely reach out to him. He'll help you with anything you need around this. And more importantly, anything photo-wise, Foto Care is a great place to go. We are going to jump back to the studio. I'm going to play around with this image on my own system for a bit and then make a big print. Can't wait. Let's go. Hello, we're back in the studio, and in the spirit of all honesty, it is tomorrow. It was going to be yesterday, but now it's tomorrow. Anyway, I've opened up the file that Jon and I made when we photographed the negative yesterday down at Foto Care, and it looks good. It is film, so there is dust. So I've gone in and kind of dusted everything and made a layer of dust. So got rid of most of the dust. And then I did what I would have done in the darkroom back in the day, which was a load of dodging and burning. And I did that with curves layers. They're here, lots of curves layers, and I dodged and burned. And this is my final image, which I am super happy with. And I cannot wait to take it over to Vera and make a big print. So let's do that. So the proof of the pudding is in the printing. Well, the print is the proof. My mind is totally blown by the quality of the scan. I remember printing this on in the darkroom back in the day, and I never got close to this much kind of detail. Obviously never saw it this big, but this is beautiful. No excuse not to delve into my film archive and do some more of these prints. Really stunning. Brilliant job by Foto Care and developing this system. Get it? Developing the system. It's brilliant. Thank you guys very much and see you soon. Bye.